Welcome back. Good to be back for me, lads. Welcome back to another round of URC Unloaded. I'm back by popular demand. Boys miss me?
What are you wearing? What is that?
Anyway, we'll forget that. He's going to go straight into the abuse. I'm glad to be back. I'm joined by these two, one clown, Tom Shanklin, Stevie Ferris. I've actually not watched the show back, lads. You ever? I guess you talked about me a lot. I bet you did a round on me about how much you miss me and your favourite thing about me. Or
got off lightly, mate. You got off lightly. We didn't really mention you.
Really?
You weren't worth it. You weren't worth it.
It's probably been the best show yet, too, Shanks, hasn't it?
You know, like
really smoothly.
Well, I've nurtured you. It's a mentor. Let you guys grow.
You only take the piss out of the ones that you like. That is the theory. But in this case.
Like the one anomaly.
We let the rule go.
Yeah. Well, it's good to be back.
No, it's good to have you, John.
Oh, thanks, guys. Really well. You said it, Shank. Steve didn't say it. We'll move on. As we do every week, even when I'm not here, we are joined by a coach. We're very lucky to have the coaches come and chat to us. This week, we're joined by Connacht head coach, Andy Friend. Andy, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Good, mate. I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Not at all. Talk us through. We'll get straight into it. Talk us through the weekend. We watched the game. Watching the last 10 minutes through your fingers, or
yeah, it was a bit tricky, wasn't it? I thought our first 10 minutes wasn't real good at all. I thought we worked our way out of a bit of a hole there, and then we had probably about 40, 50 minutes where things seemed to go okay, and then we had that yellow card into a penalty try. We managed to hold on during that period, and then we get Lever back on, and he gets another yellow, which equals a red. So the last 5 minutes was tad stressful, I got to say.
I bet. I mean, from you, in terms of watching it, we're going to see some clips here, but you've seen a couple leads slip this year, and this is maybe a daft question. We've all played in teams where these things happen, and sometimes it seems like it's a habit, but how much work can you do on that in terms of the focus, the preparation, staying in games, or is it something you just ignore and back the guys to get on with it?
Well, yeah, you don't ignore it, mate. I think, and some of the games we've let slip, it's been for various reasons. So, we had one game where our game against Leicester Tigers, we stopped playing, and that was a good learn out of that. We had another game against Stud, which we let slip. Where it really came down to some might have thought we overplayed. I didn't think we did. We played our style of footy, but every time we knocked the ball on, of which we knocked on two in the last 20 minutes, it ended up in a scrum, and we didn't have. We'd had a perfect storm of injuries that week leading into the game, which meant that we lost some of our better scrummages. So we had some good young blokes in there, but started a pretty good scrummaging team. So that turned the tide against us. So we lost that one. We've had a couple other games where we didn't turn up. So there's been a myriad of reasons why we haven't been winning games. What was really pleasing on Saturday night was we managed to hold on, and I thought our game management by our key players, our 9-10, was really, really good. So always good to win away from home, and as you know, we haven't beaten the Scarlets for a good long while, certainly away over in Swansea, so nice to get that win.
Andy, I think I'm right in saying, was it 17 years it's been since you won over there? Plenty of competition in your squad. Like, everybody just loves the brand of rugby that Connacht play, sort of carrying on from what Pat Lamb put in there. But you coming in as a coach, did you have to change much, like, straight away, or were most of the lads really good at buying into what exactly you wanted from them?
Mate, they're a good group of fellas. So and that's part of the DNA of Connacht rugby's been playing an expansive game of rugby. So it was pretty easy. It's something I really believe in. But when I went through the interview process with Connacht, you could see there was going to be a match there, because it's the way they wanted to play, and it's the way I reckon the game should be played. So there was a neat synergy there. Since I've come in, probably the first 3 years, we had Nigel Carolan as our attack coach. We played a 1-3-3-1 shape, which is pretty common. I thought Nigel did a great job with that and got us to a level. Nigel moved on at the end of last season, and we handed the reins over to Pete Wilkins this year, and Pete's brought in a different system. So it's not a shape system, it's more a key principle system, and I reckon that's really exciting too. I reckon it's probably a newer, more Probably less people are using that style of system, but it seems to be working for us at the minute.
Andy, talk us through the recruitment of Mac Hansen, because he wasn't known that well until he came over to Connacht, and then all of a sudden now he's going to win Player of the Tournament in the Six Nations. Is that how pleasing is that for you, or are you a bit like, we just signed a good player, now Ireland have got him, we don't get access to him for parts of the season?
No, mate, listen, I think like every coach, you want your players to play at the highest level, and I love the fact he's playing for Ireland. I love the fact that he's chosen Connacht to come to, and now Ireland to be the country he wants to play for. So, I'll back him to the hilt with that. There's been a good story doing the rounds that pretty much sounds like my son walked to a bar and said, "Anyone play for Ireland because my dad coaches Connacht." That's not what happened. The real story is we'd been watching Mac for a couple of years. His agent had made us aware that he was Irish qualified. He was one of the few players we'd been watching. Started to see some stuff that we liked. When I say we, there's myself, Timmy Allnut, the coaches. We keep a pretty close eye on a lot of the competitions, and players that are certainly of interest to us, we'll keep a close eye on them. So we'd seen some stuff that we liked, and I reached out to his agent and said, "Listen, can I get his number?" And we had a good Zoom call, and then 2 days later, my son said, "What are you talking to Mac Hansen for?" I said, "How do you know?" He said, "Well, he drinks at the bar I work at." I said, "Oh, right." So that's how the bar scenario came. So I said to him, "Mate, what's he like? Is he a good bloke?" And he said, "Yeah, he's a real good bloke, Dad." And I happen to know the bloke who runs the bar too. So I gave him a call and I said, "Tell me a bit about this bloke." And he said, "Oh, he's a good footballer, friend." I said, "I can see that." He said, "He's a bit loose." And I said, "Right. Is he loose like you?" And he said, "He's exactly like me." And I said, "Well, that's good, because you're a good loose. I can handle that loose." There seemed to be a link straight away. And then we've got him over here, and as you've seen, Shanks, he made every post a winner in it. He's a beautiful footballer to watch. I think he's got an incredible ability to beat a defender. He's making every post a winner. It's good.
Did you give any words of advice to him on his first cap against Wales?
No, you text him as you do, and I just said, "Mate, go and enjoy it," because he plays his best footy when he's enjoying himself. And you just say, "You can't back yourself." Like, again, I reckon, and you fellas have played at that level, if you start to try and overthink it, you're dead, right? Just go and do the things you've always done, which is trust your instincts, make an error, park it, get on to the next thing, keep reminding yourself what your weapons are, and go and play football. And the pleasing thing for Mac, his first touch was pretty special.
Yeah, I can't say I was overly pleased with his performance. But selfish.
But listen, he's a breath of fresh air, actually, and it just goes to show that you can shine at any time.
Just on that recruitment, Andy, how much of it is the technical recruitment, and how much of it is that creative? You said there he's a good bloke, and I never played at Connacht, but I know guys that have played there, and they always talk about the culture and how important that is. How much of it is looking at the player, and how much of it is looking at the man?
Well, I think first and foremost, John, you got to be able to play, haven't you? Like, there's no point picking up a heap of good blokes if they can't play footy. So you got to be able to play. But we have we've got a very different recruitment policy to most teams, I'd imagine, because we just don't have the same budget. So, we have a group of metrics that we look for, and we put it through the big computer, and we spit out some names, and then we go in search of those names and have a closer look at them, and if we like it, then we start to dive into the person, and if you get the right match there, where they've got the right metrics and they're a good bloke and a good person, you think that there's a fit there, then we'll certainly go and approach them. So that's the way that worked. I think, and the other thing, which is not uncommon or not unknown, I should say, but so we don't have the budget, but we work really hard, and we say, we're happy to find the rough diamond and try and polish him up, and we've therefore got a really good group of coaches that work hard to do that. And we don't get it right all the time. It's not a perfect science, but when we do get it right, it's a pretty good feeling.
Just to touch on that, you spoke about the metrics there for your recruitment. Can you tell us what they are?
I'd share a couple of them with you, mate. Listen, probably most teams are looking at it too. But simple things like meters made, defenders beaten, line breaks. If you're looking at attack stuff, we do look at some of the defensive qualities of players as well. Again, from a sevens background, there's some athletic metrics which I reckon are pretty important. Depends upon the player you're looking at. As you said, we've probably got a few other ones there, but a few of those, every team, they're probably your little secrets that you don't want to let out, to be honest with you. So otherwise, everyone's looking at the same group of blokes, aren't they? But I think the important thing there, we got a great analysis team. Simon and Oshin do a great job there. So we give them a few of the metrics that we're looking for, and they search the world for us, and they come up with some names, and then it's just trying to piece it together. I think going back to the culture thing, I think the important thing in any environment, you can't be playing with fear. If you're playing with fear, you can't play. So if you're worried about going out and making an error, no point playing the game of football. So we're not afraid of error. We don't want it to happen, but it is part of the game. So we don't hit blokes hard if there's an error. If there's a repeated error, which is an attitudinal error, well, you might get whacked with that. But if there's skill errors that happen because it's a poor execution, then we just say we've got to work hard on that. And we use the word yet in a lot of our conversations with the players. You might not be good at that yet because it's not finite. We're happy to work with you, and if you put the work in, you'll end up getting that skill right. So, and I think that's again, having played the game many moons ago, I wish I'd had a coach that had said that to me. We're pretty good at telling people what they can't do, but it's not finite. It's only finite if you plant that seed in the young bloke's head.
Andy, just on yourself and your coaching, you've obviously been involved in the game a long time, coached all over the world. But what's different about Galway? What's different about Connacht? What was the big attraction there for you to come over and put your stamp in European rugby with a province in Ireland?
Yeah, well, Steve, at the time I was coaching Aussie 7, so I was just keen to get back into 15s. I'd had two and a half really good years with the 7s. I actually loved it. I thought it really revitalised my coaching and made me look at the game a different way. But the synergy with Connacht was probably more just around the people, to be honest with you. There's three words that Connacht have up on their wall as a province, and that's ambition, belief, and community. And you often see that in a lot of places you go, but you could smell it. You could smell that they had ambition, and you could smell they actually had a real belief in who they were and what they stood for. It's not similar to other teams. And then the community part of it, you could see that there's a really strong bond. As you blokes have probably all played there at the sports ground. We only get 8,000 people there on a packed house, but it feels like it's 20,000 people because they really get involved with it. And I love that feeling. I love it was a 2-day interview basically where I sat down with the CEO and other members of Pro Rugby Committee and ex-players, and we just chewed the fat on footy, and it just felt good, just felt right. And then when I got here, it was pretty much everything I'd felt. There's a really good group of players here. I love the fact that the Irish players are educated as well. I say that knowing that they've come through academies and they have to study. I think that's a beaut part of it. And I actually really like the way the Irish view the game. I think it's they're hard workers. They get the job done. I think the centralised system is a good system too, having come from Australia where it's not that. So there was just a lot of things, Steve, that to me just made sense. And
the Guinness.
And the Guinness was good. I've had the Guinness before, but it is really good. But the only issue is there's 73 pubs here in Galway, and every pub tells you they serve the best Guinness.
Andy, I don't know if you can see this question. We've got a question here from Neil. Someone's going to have to help me with that pronunciation. Steve, you help me out here. A guy called Neil.
Hennigan.
Okay, Hennigan, there we go. Andy Farrell said Mac Hansen could play at 10. Would Andy ever play him there for Connacht?
I would. Yeah, and one of the reasons we signed him, he was actually a 10, so he learned most of his footy at 10, and then he moved to fullback and then the wing. So when Mac turned up, we were sort of looking. We've got Jack Carty, as you know, we've got we got Connor Fitzgerald as a good young player coming through, and we needed a third 10. Tom Farrell's played a little bit there. We had Kyle Goblin who played there before, but Kyle had moved on a couple of years ago. So we were looking for a third 10. So Max sort of covered that for us. And actually, my mate who runs that bar, when I talked to him, he said he was an ex-10 himself. He said, I reckon his best position's 10, friendy. Now, when he turned up, we were, again, one of the things we look for in our players when we're recruiting is the capacity to play multiple positions. It used to be a bit of a sin, didn't it? You didn't want to be known as a utility player, but now I think certainly in our squad, that's something that's pretty handy. So when we signed Mac, it was so he could cover probably wing first, then fullback, then 10. When Mac turned up, he said, listen, I think my best position's fullback. And we said, well, we'll chuck you on the wing because Tiernan O'Halloran he had a great pre-season. And Mac just brained it on the wing. So we haven't chosen to move him yet. But I reckon if he reckons his best position's fullback, I'd love to see him there. And we probably will see him there, but I think he can play 10 as well.
Good man. Right. Well, thanks for your time. We've got one little round here, which we've been put together. I know you've coached all over the world, but we want to see how much of Andy Friend is now part of Galway. So we've got just quick fire answers if you can. I didn't put these together if you don't like them, by the way, so you can blame the producer, who's a big Connacht fan anyway. So we're going for, first of all, Canberra or Galway?
Canberra.
Honesty, I love it. I love it,
yeah. I'm going to change this one. Avocado toast or full Irish breakfast?
Oh, full Irish, mate. Yeah, I'll take that.
Barbie with the Fosters or a pint of Guinness by the fire?
I don't like Foster's, so I'll go the Guinness.
There we go. Australian Christmas or Irish Christmas?
Aussie.
Aussie rules or hurling?
Great question. Listen, I'm a mad Bomber supporter, so I'll go Aussie rules, but I do love the hurling. It's good. If you ask me Aussie or Gaelic, it's 100% Aussie, but hurling's a brilliant game. Love that.
He knows his onions. Home and away or Fair City? I have no idea what Fair City is. Stevie might know, or you might know.
No, I don't know, but I hate home and away, so I'll go Fair City.
Go for the other one. Hugh Jackman or Bernard Jackman?
I've never had a beer with Hugh Jackman. I have had one with Birch. I'll stick with Birch.
Stick with Birch. And last one, Eddie Jones or Eddie the Eagle?
Oh, Eddie Jones.
Good.
Right. I just want to ask you quickly, Andy, before we let you go. Your training regime, how do you stay fit? Because we've seen some photos of you, and you're pretty. You're not in bad condition, mate. To be fair. I
love riding the bike, and I love just doing my little workout. It's funny because I was only talking to my son the other day about it, and he said, "Oh, I'm into the gym, Dad." I said, "Good man." And we just started talking about habits. And he said, "How long have you been going to the gym?" I said, "About 30 years, and probably 35 years." But, and someone asked me the other day, what's my gym routine? It's not that flash, to be honest with you, but you do it all the time, right? So I don't mind the chin-ups and the push-ups and all the simple stuff.
What do you take? Tell me what you take. I could do a bit of that. I wouldn't mind looking as good as that. You want some creatine?
No, I don't take any of it, mate. I have a beer most nights, honestly.
Okay, protein.
Yeah, I used to work out on a farm, and we had a guy called Tommy Knight. He was the owner of the farm, and you couldn't go to bed until you had a beer. So that was as a young bloke. So I thought you were going to
say something like milk the cows. That was a beer.
Yeah, and mate, I did that. Honestly, I did that for 25 years. I regularly just have a beer, but I don't have too many. I'll have one, maybe two.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do the maths now. That's about 18,000 beers, I think. That's not bad. I don't know if the maths is right. It might be 180,000. Andy, thank you so much for your time. We asked for 10 and you've given us 20. So thanks very much. And good luck this weekend and good luck for the rest of the season.
Good on you, fellas. Good to chat.
Cheers, Andy.
Thanks, Andy. Bye. Joe, I think that's where Wales are going wrong. They're not speaking to enough bar owners to find who's playing good. That's a brilliant story.
Your Twitter question, Shanks, there a couple of weeks ago. Where's the next generation of Welsh players coming from? They're coming from the bars in Australia and New Zealand.
When you said a mention about ringing a bar, did everyone I thought of like Crocodile Dundee, like a bar like that, and someone pick it up. There's a fight
swinging
going on.
boards.
Yeah, what's this Mac Hansen like? Oh, he's good. He's really good. Yeah, well, yeah, he wrestles Crocs a lot.
He's a good nick, though, isn't he? What a nice guy. He's a
Unbelievable,
better
yeah.
player than I played.
Yeah, really good guy. Really good guy.
Healthy body, healthy mind.
That's it. 180.
It was a good win for them, eh?
Oh, it's a brilliant win. 17 years. Was that right?
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Against the Scarlets.
I don't think they've ever won at Parker Scarlets, have they?
Don't know.
I've thrown that out there. That might be absolute nonsense. But seeing as we've gone that way, we can maybe have a little chat on the weekend's games and start on that game. Scarlets 23, Connacht 29, lads. Any thoughts? A few contentious decisions in the game, or contentious for you? Were they well refereed?
I thought it was a penalty try. I'm not sure what we're going to see first here. Oh, here it is. Yeah, Kieran Hardy picks it. You can't do that. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing. If he leaves him, which he has to, Kieran Hardy's going to score. So I think that's the right decision.
I think that's genuine. I thought there were some decisions you got wrong. That's a big decision to give a. I don't think many refs even thinking penalty try. They're just given how far out is. He's run a few meters, but yeah, right.
No one there. There's no one there.
Yeah. And this one, this is the one that you could have gone either way. It would have been nice to hear Andy Friend's opinion on that, but he's probably going to say one thing.
I didn't think it was a card.
No,
personally, no. I think he's jumped, and I find that hard to look at as a yellow card. He jumped in the air. Part of being like a 15 is when you kick the ball back is trying to navigate yourself. If someone goes offline and hits you, fair enough. But he's kicked the ball late. It's a genuine charge down, and essentially he's run into him. So a little bit hard done by.
Yeah, well, it's out on Twitter as well that Team Connacht's lock, the Fafita sending off 2 yellow cards was sufficient, so no further actions being taken. Like, if Connacht had lost that game in the end up, I think there would have been so much more chat around that second yellow. Definitely not a second yellow card for me, but I don't know about you lads, but I thought Connacht thoroughly deserved the win. And yeah, for me, it just feels like the Scarlets are still having a lot of questions to answer for, and Dwayne Peel still hasn't found his feet there yet.
I still maintain this. Scott Williams is the best 12 in Wales.
I just wrote this down here. I just wrote Scott Williams. I don't know what he has to do to get picked.
Like,
he's not even in the squad.
That's a great setup. It's a setup everyone uses off 12, and you don't often expect to kick through because he's either going to carry, he's either going to pop it short, or it's going to go back behind to Dan Jones. But it's such a great option, and Johnny Williams goes through. But you have to be a good option taker. You have to be creative, and you have to be a really good distributor at 12. He is the man. Like, there's no one better, I don't think, in Welsh rugby in that position.
Because he put Callum Mafoney through. Not many players play that shape and then pick the right option. He put Callum Mafoney through, who then put the pass to Kieran Hardy, and he dropped it. But that ability to put players through, his kicking game, he's a tough bugger in defence. I don't know why he's not.
Does his face not fit? Like, is it, we see that with some of the Irish players that play brilliantly every single week, and yet they just can't get through. Like what's the story there? You obviously
he's been injured a lot, Stevie, and that's probably counted against him. So he's been out for long periods, and
so is Toby Faletau.
Yeah, correct. But I suppose Faletau's a little bit different to Scotland in terms of what he's achieved and the level he's played at consistently for Wales. But I just think you need durable players, and I suppose until he stays fit for a long period and involved in lots of games, then he might not get selected. So, it can't be an age thing because they've got a lot of older players in there. Sorry, I should say, like John Davis, Reece Priestland's in the squad. There's quite a lot of players sort of past 30. So
Scott's only 30, I think.
31. I don't know, Stevie. I don't know, because when I watch rugby and you probably, both of you probably keep a little bit of an eye on your sort of similar positions, like back row, as I would do centres, and sort of look, I could do that. I'm better than that. But he is he is the best 12, and I can't see why he's not in.
Well, I fully back you on that, Shanks.
What about the crossfield kick though from Dan Jones?
I mean, I don't know what's Shanks. Have you got my notes here, because I literally just wrote Scott Williams, Dan Jones side by side. We're on to Dan Jones now. What's top?
Oh, cameras all around your house, mate.
Cameras
all around your house.
A bedroom,
but he must have not seen the player behind the physio, because there's physio top left corner there.
I mean, it's shocker. You see that picture there, you pause it, it's fully loaded defensive team.
Look how many players are there for Connacht as well.
It's 10-0. It's like, and they kick down. Yeah.
Oh,
and then you got in trouble for speaking to the ref as well. There was 2 big incidents that happened in that game, which didn't occur on the pitch. You lads see them?
Yes, of course we did.
We'll see them here.
I put this on Twitter. And it got like 175,000 likes, and I'm absolutely gutted. Like, Premier Sports, I forgot to tag Premier Sports, like, and it's ridiculous. 175,000 views.
Did you ever see those kiss cams and it goes to someone in the crowd and it's like some guy that's obviously having an affair with a woman, and then he's got his arm around her and he thinks, "Oh, I've not been seen now." Like, you've been seen on camera, you can't delete it. You've been done.
It's when he goes like this, so and then he puts it down. Oh no, I'm not drinking. I'll put it back on the floor. Yeah.
I think it's worse. Is he wearing like a Scarlet's polo shirt as well? Is he?
He's not even got a jumper on. Do you know what it is? And he'll probably get another year in his contract for that. He's already on the board. He's got an 8-year contract. The sheriff of West Wales. The other one, here we go. Who saw this?
Yeah. He's probably going, "Yeah, bro, you 10 minutes off. You got 10 minutes off. Well done. Save the try." Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Wait, here it comes, bro. Here it comes. Here it comes.
What the?
Who says what? Whoever says what the fridge? What?
Quality that.
You can imagine having a little giggle about that, can't you? Like, well, you stop the try for 10 minutes now. Rest up. You're going to be a hero.
Can you imagine that? And I bet that's the kind of thing they'll laugh about. And even in our brief interaction with Andy Friend, I hope they laugh about that on a.
They can now because they won.
Yeah, they can now because they won. But if they'd lost, they would have been fuming. No, I enjoyed that. And also, I was doing with Stevie, actually, our first game in the studio together, Stevie. We did Munster, Edinburgh, Simon Zebo hat-trick. Any thoughts?
I wonder if Simon Zebo will ever take his top off when he scores a hat-trick. like a footballer.
Like, let's call it how it is. He has got a little bit bigger over the last couple of years.
Doesn't affect him,
carrying a bit more timber. Like, I've heard pundits say that he should be playing for Ireland and he's in the form of his life and all sorts, but like, he didn't have to do too much to score those tries. You know, any good winger will get over there. Like, he is a top lad. We all know he's got a little bit of magic, but at the same time, I think that Munster performance for me, like, it's papering over a few cracks. Like, their attack at times was so poor. Like, apart from those 3 touches, Zebo was hardly in the game. Edinburgh had so many chances as well, and JB just on Edinburgh, like, they banged the door, but just couldn't get over. Like, and they'll go away from that game thinking there was a bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, probably similar. I don't know if they would have expected to beat Leinster. I think Mike Blair and the coaches would have known that was a huge challenge. I think they would have backed themselves to get a victory over potentially in Munster, and they had the opportunities. They had loads of ball, like you said. They had loads of territory, and then just a number of errors. You saw Mike Blair after the game, really frustrated, didn't get to transfer pressure into points. So, yeah, it missed opportunity for Edinburgh, but equally, and we spoke about it pre-game, Munster seem to be getting a tough time, but they don't seem to be doing that much wrong. And I guess if I was them, you'd probably be happy with everyone saying you're not playing very well and you keep winning and you're in the knockout stages of Europe and there's plenty of room for improvement, plenty of room for evolution, but they're doing a lot of things right still.
But John, like, you and I, Shanks, we've watched Munster over the last decade or more, and we've seen full houses at Thomond Park. We've seen, you can't get a ticket for the big games. Like they can't get the stadium half full, like for an Edinburgh match. And there's the reason behind that because of the style of rugby that they're playing. Like I think some question marks have to come up around that too, because it's not entertaining.
It's never been that entertaining though, Munster. Has it? It's always been focused on a big pack performance rather than sort of like a wide game. Like I'd say Edinburgh are an entertaining team. I've never really thought Munster has been entertaining. I just thought Munster low air account, physical. With some,
I'd agree. Sorry to interrupt, Shanks. I think I'd agree with the style of play. I think there's maybe expectation there based on Stephen Larkham coming in, Johan van Graan, and there hasn't been an evolution. But I watch it and I think fair play. Like the defense is brilliant. They're physical. They play in the right areas. Yes, their back. I think their back play is pretty clunky. Like you say, we didn't see Zebo on the ball apart from 3 tries, which I dare say I could have finished. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out. They seem to get a lot of stick, a lot of heat, but I don't know where they're at the top of the table, just about ticking along quite nicely.
I mean, what Munster won't do is what Edinburgh did. Like when Healy comes round the corner and puts Zebo in, that's just poor defence. I can't remember who it was on the wing. It might have been Mariano. Yeah, just gets himself in a whole world of trouble. Like it's such a loose try to give away and such an easy try to give away. Munster don't do stuff like that. That's I suppose that's the difference. They just have such a low air account. Well, they have done previously, and they just rely on that physicality and dominating that physical battle. So I get your point, no, Stevie. It's an entertainment game. You want to see teams throwing the ball around, but to play like that, you need the right personnel, and not everyone can play like that.
Yeah, but I think the other 3 provinces are, and this is what Munster fans are looking at. They're seeing Connacht play an incredible brand of rugby. Ulster, when they're at home, they turn it on. Leinster week to week, and then, as you say, the evolution of Munster rugby hasn't transpired as the way every Munster fan hoped. So maybe that's adding to
I always view Ospreys and Munster similar. Ospreys and Munster I always view as similar. The style of play that they play, it isn't that expansive, but they try and rely on big defence and that physical challenge. Moves us on to the Ospreys. They got well beaten 29-7 without Leinster really having to change gear. They beat them last year, I think, didn't they? In the RDS, pretty sure they did. I think that was one of the only wins they've had in recent years against them. But I mean, Leinster,
same again. I mean, exactly
same again.
Same again. Just put your hand in the hat, pick out 15 names, and they go and hammer someone. They didn't really have to get us. I think Edinburgh gave them a tougher game the week before. Edinburgh caught a lot of ball, but similar, almost identical scoreline, bonus point. What's next for Leinster? Still, obviously the standard bearers of the league. Can anyone catch them? Can anyone topple them on a regular basis?
I think so. I think Leinster can be there for the taking at times, but we're only seeing their B team at the minute, and just on their B team, John, like somebody like Scott Penny or Max Deegan or the other lads playing in the back row, like they're getting player of the matches every single week, but there's no chance that they're going to get into the national side. And like, what's keeping them there?
Some of you see guys moving after a couple of years and not getting paid, and maybe it's quite nice. They play every second, third week. Body
win most weeks. Win most weeks.
Good city to live in.
Yeah, but we all have dreams and expectations and hopes to go on and represent, and that's why maybe a few players ended up moving up to Ulster, down to Connacht or whatever. But like, there surely has to come a stage. Like some of these players would walk on to most teams, and they're just not getting the international experience. So yeah, actually, I had a conversation with a fella earlier on for 15, 20 minutes, and he was saying exactly the same thing. He's like, these players are quality, but they're never going to play for Ireland.
Is there an Island B team? Is it the Wolfhounds? Are they back up and running yet or not?
No, there was chat that it was going to come back again, and they were going to be called Ireland A.
I think that needs to come back. Run alongside the Six Nations. I did it when I was sort of 20 years old. I played in Wales A.
Churchill Cup?
Hey, no, we weren't involved in that. I don't think Wales went to that, but they should definitely bring back the A sides, I think, and run it alongside the Six Nations, because it's a level of competition. It's a step up from club level to see whether these boys can play to that level or not. Another thing, lads, when are we going to see Gareth Anscombe back? Well, when I say we, like I want to see him back. Like we saw him at the start of the season.
There's no
can't get a game. Not getting used. Stephen Myler again at 10. Gareth Anscombe comes off the bench, but if he's not seen as first choice at the Ospreys and they want to keep with Stephen Myler, then what's his point? What's the point of him being there? Because it's hampering his chances to play for Wales. He needs a run of games, and I know he's not back to the level he was. And defensively, he's led a couple of tackles.
But Shanks, you have to play rugby. You have to play rugby to get back to the level that you were at.
Yes, that is my point. No, you need a string of games as well. You can't just make a cameo of like 20 minutes. You have to say, right, we're gonna start you for the next 4 or 5 games, and if we see an improvement, brilliant. If we don't, then we'll make some other decisions there. But he's not even getting that chance. And Stephen Myler is a good player, and Ospreys won most of their big games with him at 10. I get that, but he's the wrong side of 30 now. He's not the future of the club. You've got a guy who's 30, 31, who's got quite a few years left in him, who was excellent until he got injured. Surely you have to come a point where you say, right, we're going to stick with you now, and we're going to give you a run of games, because he's not getting it. That was it.
Also, it'd be good to see him back. Just before we move on, the Leinster game saw the return of James Lowe.
Oh yeah,
back in the Ireland squad. He played well enough to get back into the. This is a berserk finish. Enough to get back into the Ireland team.
Oh, what a goose step, and then the left foot step. That is electric, isn't it?
It's a great step. I also say that is woeful defence. I did something like that against Joe Roccocoku, but that's Joe. So you can accept that.
I got him. Don't got him.
It's a good step. But not to even slow him down. I think it's Luke Morgan, is it?
Yeah.
But not to even slow him down. Speed both sped up after it.
I don't think he's done enough. I think Mac Hansen wasn't as good, obviously, in the French game as the Welsh game, but against Italy, he could score a hat trick very easily. And I think James Lowe, even coming off the bench, a bit of game time, it's all good for competition. But now good to see James Lowe back again after his injury.
Yeah, he's a quality player, mate. He's so busy, and he'll pop up anywhere. He'll carry for you, pick and go. He'll get you over the game line. He can finish tries with no room whatsoever, just a bit of footwork and strength. He's like a bigger version of Darcy Graham when it comes to power, isn't he?
Be interesting. They might just chuck him in to play Italy because they'll beat Italy and give him a game, and then who knows? We digress into the international game. 2 more games to cover. Glasgow 13, Benetton 3. Not a classic. Some nice touches shown by Ollie Smith, a fullback. Jack Dempsey keeps doing. Talk about recruitment. We chat to Andy Friend about recruitment. This guy doesn't generally have a bad game at the moment.
No, I agree.
Super.
I like watching him play.
He's a good operator. And you talk about James Lowe being busy. He is a really busy back rower. Every breakdown, he's back on his feet. Double impacts. Doesn't just make a tackle and lie there. He's counter rucking. Just always been a bit of a pest. Can he make his way into the Scotland squad?
I was just going to say that he's qualified for Scotland in the autumn.
Right. Has he got a Scottish granny? No?
He doesn't need one. He's got a 6.
Okay.
No, I think he does. I think that's why he can. Sorry, he's 3 years without playing for Australia. He can play for Scotland.
Yeah.
the autumn, which
He'll
would
be straight in. He'll be straight in. You know it.
he probably will be.
Still searching for 2 wins on the bounce, aren't they, in the Six Nations?
Oh, that didn't take long. How many Wales got? Wales 1. Yeah, sorry.
And JB, just on the Scotland lads, like Sam Johnson, obviously playing and then catapult straight out of the Scotland squad. What's the story with that?
I don't really know. I think they have to send them back because there's 2 pro teams, and I went into training on the Monday with Scotland, and there was 12 players there. 12 players because they have to get sent back, otherwise the pro teams can't operate. So yeah, I think Edinburgh had, I think we said 22 players missing the week before. So I think if you're on the bench or you're not involved, you get sent back to play, and it's not just Sam. It's pretty much across the board. So I just hope they go back and don't pick up injuries, which I don't think any of them did. I know Stuart Hogg was playing. I know Finn Russell played on Sunday, but yeah, Sammy, and he keeps going back and he plays well. He played well again for Glasgow at the weekend. Their go-to guy in the back. So
do you reckon he'll be back into the Scottish team?
I don't know. I know Scotland didn't play well, but Shanks, you'd have a stronger opinion than me on centre play. But I thought Tui Piloto had a few nice touches in a game where Scotland didn't really do a huge amount. So yeah, I don't know. And I see Cam Redpath's out for the rest of the championship. So
what's he done with himself now?
I don't know. I saw he went back. I think he hurt himself in the game. There's no news on it, but he's out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I read he's out for the rest of the championship.
Man, he has played about 5 games in 3 years.
Yeah.
Like really, really tough. And obviously we know Brushy, his dad, such a talent, but just can't get a string of games.
Especially after last year in the first game in Six Nations. Think, right, this is a guy. Scotland are going to build a team around him and Finn Russell at 10 and 12, and then can't stay fit. Nightmare for him.
I was waiting for another joke there, Shanks, before we get into that. On to Stevie's favourite subject, Ulster. Stevie, Ulster 12, Dragons 0.
I wasn't there. Shanks was there. Shanks, it looked terrible on the TV. How bad was the weather, mate?
It looked bad on TV. It was so much worse there. Honestly, like the kick-in. Fair play to a few of the boys. They had to take some real bad high balls and did most of it. This was the highlight. James Hume goes through. That's an amazing pass, right, in those conditions to Doak. It's actually a really good tackle, I thought, by Josh Lewis to get back. But then Ulster just got numbers. Dragons, all around the ruck. This kick he has to send this out to the right, really far to the right to bring it around. It's unbelievable bit of skill. He's a really good player. I gave him.
Was he against the wind?
This was with the wind, this one, but it was sort of blown to the left-hand corner there.
Oh, gorgeous!
But yeah,
gorgeous.
Little played really well at 15, but watch it. The ball just moves here when he tries to kick it. Do you see it then? Watch it move when he drops it.
Oh,
that was me on the first today. Genuinely, top ball.
That's a great angle. But kicking was so hard. Like the boys, they couldn't get their distance right at all. You'd have to actually power it as hard as you could into the wind, just to sort of try and regain the ball because it was moving so much. Like, you don't really want to see games like that in those conditions because you can't take anything from it. But Dragons didn't score any points in the first half with the wind, and also scored 2 tries, one in the first half, one in the second half, and they just played the conditions slightly better. But I don't really want to be in that situation again, going through a game. And I couldn't find my accreditation, so I was in the rain and wind for ages.
Long John done? You got the cashmere long John done?
I got the merino wool.
Oh, merino, nice.
Yeah.
What cashmere?
Yeah. John's got cashmere. You've got Louis Vuitton long johns. John has.
Crotchless. Oh, here we go. Paul Anthony's got a question. I wonder why Gaz put this one in. On a lighter note, why hasn't John got a nickname, or is it unprintable?
Isn't it Johnny Cash? Isn't that what they call you?
Hold on, Shank. Where are you today? Stevie. Shank, every night this week you're doing
I'm doing some charity work. I'm just doing some charity work, mate.
Okay. Giving back to the rugby community.
In fairness, JB, your Instagram has been relentless. You're even doing like short videos, and have you been for like a course in influencing?
No, I've just been busy. I get requests. I want to give people what they want.
He's bought a load of followers. He's got 1 million followers now.
He's like James Haskell, isn't he? He's the new James Haskell.
Hey, I tell you what, he looks like he's dripping in cash. So I'll take that. He's releasing. If I'm releasing a book, then we know I'm the next James Haskell. If we get there, that'll be me made up. No nicknames though. Maybe we can think of one for next week. Send in suggestions.
Did you have one? Did you have one in like camp when you were there? Like apart from
the big dog, that sort of stuff.
Doggers.
Maverick.
Dog breath.
Yeah, perfect. No, I never really had nicknames. Never really had nicknames.
Nicknames are bad names. I'll tell you that now. All right?
I mean, Shanks, you guys it's not really a nickname. It's just an abbreviation.
Yeah, I just had the tank at the end.
Yeah. Self-entitled. Well, that wasn't a very good question.
More like a wheelbarrow.
Didn't really get anywhere with that, did we?
No.
Thanks for that question, whoever sent that in. We'll block that account. Rants of the week next. Anyone got a rant of the week?
Didn't make Stevie's dream team.
Oh, really?
I didn't
either.
He just put as many famous people as he could in there.
Oh, I was delighted. Like Backy's Botha, who I admired as a player. He sent me a tweet. He replied to me. We're now best friends. We're best friends.
Apparently, you had to change it because you had like Philippe Seller in there, and they said, "Look, Stevie, you just put names in there now. You know, you didn't play with him. You have to John Kerwin."
I'm not gonna lie. I did have Jonah Lumu in there. And the guy was like, "You didn't play against him, did you?" I was like, "No." And he goes, "Oh, sorry, you can't have him in." So,
Steve, why have you got Sid Gareth Evans at 9, mate? Oh, he's a big name. Yeah, but you didn't play with him. We'll take him out. All right, fine.
Yeah.
Put Aaron Smith in there. I played against him under 16s.
Well, like I got a serious amount of grief on Twitter for not like putting Kieran Reid or like Sean O'Brien sent me a text message saying, "Oh, I thought we were mates," and like.
Why didn't Drico make it?
If you look at my team, I just went with big, huge men the whole way throughout it, apart from Kirby Beale, because that was a last-minute decision. But I thought he'd be pretty good to watch.
Nights out. Yeah,
exactly. So that's why he's in there.
There's a story here, Shanks. There's some friction between O'Driscoll and Ferris, I reckon. You brought it up.
No. I can tell you something. He certainly wouldn't have me in his 15. Like, so it doesn't matter.
There you go. It's your team. You pick it, Stevie. Fair play
Correct.
to you. Me and Shanks weren't in it, but there we go.
I got asked to do one, but I couldn't do it because you always upset someone, don't you? Like there's always someone like a bit. So I just did the most sociable and best drinker one, really. So nice. It was a lot easier.
I read that one. That was quite funny actually for you.
Thank you.
Draco wouldn't have made that one either.
Any other rants? That wasn't really a rant. Or just
no.
Just more disappointed in Stevie.
No rants.
Any other rants?
No.
A couple of dodgy people dressed up. Like JB, you had like you had your dog collars on your sleeve, on your little fleece top. You had a little grey fleece on, and you had little like some silver dog collars on your arm.
No.
Yes, when you're in the studio. And
Stevie, the brand.
I don't know what it was.
Louis Vuitton, mate. Dog collar. That's not a rant, mate. How can that be a rant? It's just an observation.
Oh, they got okay, right.
They're getting bored of us talking about these rants. Presenter's choice. Then we will go on to that. Favorite Six Nations night out. Favorite Six Nations moment. Teammate with the worst rig. I mean, I'm an answer teammate with the worst rig because I love him. There was another photo out this week of Finn Russell.
Oh yeah,
inspires me. Love it.
Really, someone was pinching his waist, weren't they, as well, like the calipers.
Yeah, and you can see right through his undershorts as well to see what kind of game he's bringing. Anyone else with a shocking rig?
Do you remember? Do you remember Brax played for Wasps? Prop.
Yeah, I think so.
I played with his younger brother, Eamon. What do you call it? What's Brax's name? Anyway, but like he was a farmer, and he was just covered in hair. He was just so fat. He was terrible in the gym, but like he was the most upbeat lad. So he just walk in there, Jesus, well, lads, how you getting on now, Jesus? And he did not give a shit like what he actually looked like. So again, good lad, good crack, but terrible rig.
Do you remember Thomas Rees-Thomas, hooker for Cardiff?
Yeah.
He's now coaching. He was the one with the like. It looked like you just taken a real nice lasagna out of the oven in like a porcelain dish, and just dropped it on the floor, right? And that's what it looked like. Like but like he's rubbish in the gym, but really good on the field, if that makes sense. So like really strong, really good, really physical, really powerful, but then couldn't lift a weight really.
So Phil Godman.
Yes.
The only rugby player I've come across. Got cellulite in his arse was made of cottage cheese or something. It was hanging.
I remember playing against Scotland before, and it was in Murrayfield, and the day of the game, opened the papers, and the big title was "In Godman We Trust."
Oh my God, but probably got beat as well.
Narrowly lost that one, like 45-10, I
think. I wasn't playing. No. Any other sloppy rigs?
The mascot.
No, probably, yeah.
No, I feel bad. Like, front row's always going to struggle, aren't they?
A
lot of them anyway for rigs, because they need the bulk, don't they? They need the size. It's good weight. That's what they say.
Good weight. It's game line.
Yeah.
Well, on that, we don't want to throw anyone else under the bus. I think that's just about us for the weekend. There's obviously some URC this weekend. We've got Leinster versus the Lions, Connacht Stormers, Zebra Palmer versus the Bulls, Benetton versus the Sharks, and you can watch. We've got Six Nations as well, but you can't watch that.
Yeah, well, those
don't interrupt me.
All right.
Closing link. Like, what are you going to say?
Oh, sorry, mate. I was going to say big games for those South African teams. If they can't beat Benetton or Zebra, then there'd be some massive questions asked over them, because it's all about South Africa coming to Europe now, isn't it? That was my point, John. I'm sorry. I interrupted you.
Jumped in, and you're right. Good to see the South African teams back over here, and I guess it's not too far till I think the Scarlets got to head back there after their infamous trip there a few months ago. It seems like about a year ago. So good luck to all the guys playing. You can catch all those games on Premier Sports. Soon we'll be watching the Six Nations. Quick predictions for the Six Nations for the weekend.
I'm going. I think England will beat Wales.
England, France, Ireland.
I'm going to go England, France, Ireland.
Yeah. All in agreement.
Good. All in agreement. Look at that. Well, on that note, enjoy the rest of your evening, gents.
We'll see you too.
We won't see you next week,
always, boys.
But we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Well done, John.
Well done, John.
Loved it.